And eventually there was this thing called the ice-free corridor opened up around like what is spilled out around Edmonton, Alberta. And the idea was the first people to lay eyes on the continental U.S. when that corridor opened up, when that little gap through the glaciers opened up, the first Americans like spilled out onto the American Great Plains, killing mammoths with spears. As all this new information has emerged, the dates don't line up anymore. So we did a hunting history episode about this very question of how and when and who were the first people to enter the continent, right? And now that was called the ice-free corridor hypothesis, but it's been made more and more untenable by finding these super old sites. For a while, the oldest site we knew about in the New World was this site called Monteverde down in Chile. So if people came in at the Bering Land Bridge, why is the oldest known site of human occupation all the way down in Chile?
How old is it?
It's somewhere around 13, 14.
What about those New Mexico footprints that are 22,000 years old?
Again, yeah, it's clouded in the picture. There's a lot of the dating.
Yeah.
The dating on that is clouded. But anyways, it's like antiquity in America is much older than originally thought.
Right.
So, and then there's now currently the oldest site is on the Columbia River drainage, near a place called Pittsburgh Landing. There's a really old site there, and it winds up being that it doesn't line up with the idea of people entering this ice-free corridor, because like when was it open, when was it possible to pass through? But now you have all these older dates, and then people are even starting to question the validity of the idea of like that this corridor opened when they thought it did. So now the fashionable idea, and it seems rock solid. We filmed much of the episode up at our fish shack. There's this theory now called the Kelp Highway, that you had this pretty stable environment all along the Pacific coast, and it was defined by kelp beds, enormously rich in fish resources, enormously rich in shellfish, right? And that the first Americans were a seafaring people, and all that about what glaciers are melted and not melted, and when this and that corridor and land bridge is open was a moot point, because these were people that just came down the coast and they knew how to survive in that kelp marine environment, and they went south and went south and went south, and things remain remarkably similar, and with great speed all the way down the coast. So all of a sudden there's people in Chile.
Wow.
And instead of this idea that people came into the Great Plains and then spread to the coast, it's that people came down that route. And you know that really old site, the currently oldest like ironclad, absolutely accepted, academic consensus accepted site is that Snake River site, or on the Columbia drainage. That they came down the coast, and then the continent was populated by people who just followed these major rivers, these salmon runs and stuff. Coastal fishing people migrated up these rivers following fish, and then turned into, over time, became these mammoth hunters and these interior grassland hunters. But their genesis was in these seafaring people, and as people came down, they kind of filled in. So you go to the Tlingit or the Haida, right, that live along the Alaskan coast now, like that's their ancestors, right? They were perhaps people living that way in those places were the first people to enter the continent. So my time machine would be whatever the hell day that was.
That's what it would.
All right, Shalom, this is Gamali Olive, Great Millstone, Atlanta. I want to give all praises to YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to all the Akim pushing out this truth and sincerity. All right, this is a quick lesson, and it's gonna be dealing with the video that you just saw. All right, I don't know this guy's name, but it's off the Joe Rogan podcast. All right, and Joe Rogan tends to go into a lot of interesting subjects. One of my last videos was dealing with the what was it called? The Shroud of Turin. All right, and you know, these certain individuals that get on his show, they may be experts, or they seem to have some type of knowledge regarding different subjects. But this is just all theory. It's all theory. None of it is backed by any, concrete hard evidence besides, oh, well, we found this old artifact. So, we expect, it's all hypotheses, all right? It's all hypotheses. It's not, all the answers are in the scriptures, okay? Because they're trying to find, who were the first Americans. All right, well, look at the people. All you got to do is look at who inhabited the lands, all right? Now, you had the ancient Incans and Mayans, which those were Israelites, man. All right, those were tribes, okay, that were brought to the Americas during the time of Hosea. Let's see, let me find that. I know it's in 2nd Ezra. Yeah, this is 2nd Ezra 13 and 40. It says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of the land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so they came into another land. So what's this talking about? It's talking about, what's another land that he carried them over the waters to? All right, because you had the Eastern Hemisphere. Everyone really was on the Eastern Hemisphere, okay? And so the Western Hemisphere during this time, I believe, was uninhabited, all right? But like I said, the 10 tribes were led away captive, okay? And that's how they got. There's all these different theories about the Bering Strait, and he said something called I can't remember what he called it. Start with a K, I think. But anyway, these people are so-called experts, all right, but really they don't have the understanding, man. All you got to do is go to the scriptures, all right? That's all you got to do. All right, let me get this. Isaiah 34 and 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit hath gathered them. All right, so hey, the Bible can be compared to nothing else. All right, I don't know where what books he may have read. The scriptures also say, beware of the making of many books, to what there is no end. All right, but it says, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. All right, and the book of the Lord is the Bible. All right, and the Lord gave us these scriptures as truth. Okay, and it goes into history. The Bible is verifiable. The Bible is verifiable. You can go through a lot of you can go through a lot of different kings. Different kings that were that existed. You can verify. That's what I'm saying. You can verify so many different things in the scriptures. All right. And Esau is a liar. That's what I went into the last lesson, is that Esau is a damn liar. Okay. He's a physician of no value, as I read. Let's see. So we'll get this. Jeremiah 6 and 16. It says, thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where's the good way, and walk therein, and you shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Now, this is talking, in reference of, the ancient, doing things the ancient way. But you can also apply this to, going back to the point that the scriptures has no match. But also, the old path, seek ye the old ways. Ask for the old paths. There's history in the scriptures, man. There's a lot of history in the scriptures that we can go back and understand, okay? So, Esau clearly doesn't have any reverence or understanding of the scriptures, because if he did, then, he wouldn't be making these things up. Different carbon dating. Like, there's no I believe it's empirical evidence. There's no empirical evidence, to prove what he's saying is fact. All right. So, I just wanted to touch on that. Lord willing, you were edified. Ending out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. Shalom.